No,
Go ahead.
it's fantastic. Like, and it's been fun to be part of the back end of it, figuring out the making the clues or doing the history for the clues. You know, the writing is another thing, and you know, when you write a bit about the history, or you help, you know, you help a student out with their history project, you do it kind of different. To make a clue was such a different experience, and you know, than writing an exhibit panel for you guys to ingest. I throw everything at you. You have to write a clue where the answer's there, but we can't give it to you. You have to figure it out, and it was really fun to kind of go through that, and then to see the finished product, because I didn't see the final questions until I played it for the first time. It was really fun. And I was like, oh, I kind of knew the premise, but I didn't know the answers right away, and it did take a little bit of time to figure everything out. So.
Yeah, creating the game was a different part of it. And for me, I'm not a creative writer. So I am definitely a technical writer. So my background is environmental science and sciences. And I really enjoy that technical side of it. But creative writing has never been a strength of mine. And I don't think it's a bad thing to say, you know what, I don't know how to do this. I need help. Who can I seek help for? And when we were building the game, you were on mat leave and parental leave, however you want to say it.
Whatever.
And so I needed to find someone to help me. And I quite often think of myself as being a business owner. It's also because I love doing collaborations and partnerships. I also think of myself as being a talent agent. So I look and I find people who are really, really good at things, and I get to work with them. And I get to help show who they are to other people. So I love doing partnerships, and that's the whole point of it, is being able to highlight very talented people within our community. So I knew I needed help, and I knew it didn't take long for me to figure out who I wanted to work with on it. It's just a matter of seeing if those people also want to work with me. And I talked to Erin Fairhurst, and she writes mystery games and sells them across the country as these party favors. They're like, well, I can't show you, but they come in these boxes, and she writes them, and a lot of people don't even know she does that.
Yeah.
And I've gone to Ontario, and I've gone to stores, and I've seen her games in stores, and
Wow.
it's just like a really cool thing. And she's just, oh, as soon as I started working with her, I was like, yep, I definitely made a good choice. She's brilliant, and she's so good at writing, and she's just so creative. So I was really happy that she came on board to help actually write the game. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, she did fantastic. So
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how you do. So you download the app on your device, and you did that at home on your Wi-Fi, or you do it in right downtown Baltimore where you start. And so how many people, like, is it just one person everybody has to download, or is it multiple people on one device, or how is it?
Yeah, so you download the game onto your phone, and it does allow you to download it onto more than one phone within the team. So it is possible. And the point of that is just so that you have more than one person reading the clues at the same time. Mm-hmm. But you would be playing the same game, like at the same time. There are ways that we can set it up so that multiple teams can play at one time. So if there's a corporate group who wants to play, we can set them up at different locations along the tour, along the game, and they can compete against each other. But they have to just let me know, and we'll put my contact information below, I'm assuming.
Up, below, sides, somewhere I'll try my editing and put it up for sure.
Yeah, so we have done that with some people, and we just start them off at different places. And the way we designed the game was so that we could, not each clue builds on each other, each clue is individual, but you have to solve that clue to get to the next portion of the game. So the way the game works is that you start at the location, and typically everyone would start at the same location unless they're playing as a corporate group. And so you start at the location, and that location will be given out when you purchase the game. And it is in downtown Blairmore. So the basis of this game is around Thomas Gushel, and he's a prolific photographer, and he's a big reason why we have a lot of the photos that we have in Crowsnest Pass from the early 1900s. I mean, like, he was way a bit above his time, I would say. Would you agree, Chris?
Oh, we would not know near as much history as we do now with his, if it wasn't for his photo collection and the photo history that family preserved. And I think it's fantastic that you take a very dynamic and all-encompassing character like Thomas and his family to kind of wrap the game around, because he was part of everything. This guy was everything from your portrait guy or your wedding photographer to the crime scene photographer, and everything in between. And the guy built his own studios. He built his own cameras. He built his own backdrops. He did everything. Like, this is, if you talk about photography pioneering, that's the guy.
Yes, yeah, and that's why he was just the perfect character to base this game off of. And he's just an interesting person too. Like, the photos he would take sometimes of him with his family, or his family with, you know, a goat or something. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, it was so interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, the story is around Thomas Gushel, and some of his negatives for his photography were stolen, and those pictures, sorry, were stolen, and those pictures contain the clues to the town's vault, and we want to be able to get those pictures so that we can solve the mystery. And that's the whole basis around the game, and it's really connected, and you have to solve a lot of different things to get to the next clue. So when you download the app, it takes you to that first clue. It gives you kind of like a practice clue to get your head in the game and to start thinking about solving.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get your first clue and you solve it. And then once you solve that clue, you are timed. And you can click on different buttons on the app. Like, if you're struggling, you can ask for help. But every time you ask for help, it does add to your time. So you can get directional help. You can get help to the answer. And I think you can skip as well. So there are different things that you can do so that, you know,
Still enjoyable for everybody, even if you get hung up. Yeah.
Yeah, and then once you finish that clue, then it takes you to the next clue.
And spelling counts, people. Spelling counts.
Spelling counts. Yes. Spelling does count, so make sure you're spelling things correctly. A lot of times you'll have the clue in front of you, so it's not like you have to have any base knowledge going into it. Chris and Ian do have a lot of base knowledge, so that's partially why they did so well. And you know, you don't have to know anything about Crowsnest Pass to come into this game. And it's a great way to indulge in the history of Crowsnest Pass without feeling like you're in a lecture room, or you know, it's entertaining, and you can take as much of it out of it as you want, or you can just fly through the game and that's it. Or you can, you know, fly through the game and now you know where some of these interesting parts of history are, and you could go back to them after the game too.
It's, you know, we had base knowledge on my team, but you still had to be in the space that the clue took you to find the answer to it. And it was really fun. Like, it was parts that longtime residents hadn't, you know, if you didn't live in Blairmore, you didn't live in that residential community or shop in that commercial district very often, you just didn't know there's this secret little hidden gem right here, or, you know, this cool little park back there, or what have you. And so it's also, you know, the longtime residents, I think you're going to learn something, and it's the edutainment. You learn something while you're having fun, getting out, pick a nice night, pick a non-freezing cold winter day. You could have a lot of fun with it. And I always think of how much fun it would be to challenge your Crowsnest Pass business, you know, all your staff go out and do it, and just see how much people actually know about their own community a little bit it'd be a pretty fun team building exercise.
Oh, 100%. We had the Girl Guides that were going to do it. Unfortunately, with the COVID, it got postponed, but hopefully they'll be able to play it in the future. And yeah, it's just a super fun way to get people out and engaged. It takes about 2 to 3 hours, depending on how fast you can solve the clues. About 2 to 3 hours to play it. If you're really fast, maybe an hour and a half. But you get a little bit of exercise. You explore some of the parks around Crowsnest Pass or in Blairmore specifically. And you see, like, we really wanted to highlight some of the really neat things in Blairmore. So really try to direct people to places that we really love.